Hey guys, OddsAre here, bringing you guys my Week 11 battle of the APA Academy, taking on our buddy Steven and his Hartford Wailmers. If you haven't checked out Steven, I definitely recommend doing so. Really cool guy, really talented battler. We have our work cut out for us this week. Like I said, he is very talented, and this is a very important game. We basically need to win at least one of our next two, preferably both of our next two, to like guarantee ourselves a playoff spot and just kind of sneak in with the 7th or 8th seed. But I would prefer, to win this one so there's not as much pressure on next week, but we definitely want to win both of them for sure. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right into the team matchup. As you can see on your screen, our team, Steven's team, consists of the Celesteela, Mega Altaria, Victini, Amoonguss, Empoleon, Conkeldurr, Alolan Raichu, Palossand, Skuntank, Porygon Z, and Armaldo, while our team consists of the Landorus Therian, Starmie, Scolipede, Florida's Chestnut, Uxie, Steelix, Druddigon, Lycanroc Dusk, Mega Glalie, and Rapidash. So right off the bat, biggest threats to me in particular, a set of Celesteela can be pretty scary late game potentially. With the team that we brought, I don't know if necessarily he wants to bring that because we do have a lot of pretty decent checks to it, but late game for sure, it's absolutely terrifying, especially like a full special set, just kind of ripped through our team. So that's something we have to be prepared for. A Dragon Dance Mega Altaria can be scary, or even more so, in my opinion, a special Mega Altaria, like a Roost 3 attacks, Agility 3 attacks, Roost Agility 2 attacks, something like that. Basically just Fairy and Fire coverage hit everything on our team, which is, definitely very scary. So something we have to keep in mind as well. Late game, Scarf Victini can be pretty scary, so we are going to kind of go Victini-wise. I don't really have a great switch into, not many teams do with all its coverage, but we're going to go at it with the approach of, trying to whittle that thing down with hazards and residual damage and stuff like that. But other than that, let's just jump right into the team builders. You'll see our first member on the screen is going to be our Starmie, rocking out with the Electrian Z, Analytic, Hydro Pump, Psychic, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt. 108 HP, 4 special defense, 252 attack, 4 special defense, I said that twice, and 140 speed with a timid nature. So this is an amazing wall breaker versus team in all honesty. It forces a lot of switching. Look, he doesn't have great switch ins, and then Analytic is just going to boost those hits up to just a ton and do a ton of damage. Nothing wants to take an Analytic Hydro Pump on his team at all. We have Electrium Z for the things that might want to take them a little bit better, like the Empoleon and the Celesteela. If we can get a little bit of chip on that. Usually most Celesteela variants, unless he's like max special defense, he can potentially, protect out of range, but Thunderbolt into Z Thunderbolt or vice versa should put that thing in range. But yeah, Starmie is definitely a very good wall breaker. It's faster than pretty much everything on his team. I am creeping his base 100s. I could have crept Starmie. I could have crept Alolan Raichu, but I didn't feel as if it had the greatest matchup. It's a bit risky on my end, but double ground, plus a lot of things that pressure it offensively, and he doesn't have terrain, so we'd have to manually set that up to, get it up to that fast level. So I'm not too scared of Alolan Raichu in all honesty. I think we deal with it pretty well. And we wanted the extra bullets just because we're not carrying recover or leftovers or anything like that, just to eat a couple hits better after rocks and stuff like that from things like Victini, maybe taking a V-Crate or something like that. So yeah, that's going to be our Starmie. Next up, we have our Steelix rocking out with Aquaberry, Sturdy Ability, Heavy Slam, Roar, Earthquake, and Fire Fang, 252 HP, 52 defense, and 204 speed def with an Impish nature. This is going to be our Mega Altaria check. We have the defense investment, 52 Impish with max HP, allows us to live 2 Jolly or +1 Earthquakes after rocks. So we can't 2-hit KO as a +1 unless he's adamant, or we have taken, a little bit of prior chip. We're running Akka over Shuka because, like I said, we can eat up Earthquakes pretty well. I'm more so worried about like mixed or full special. So we can take things like Fire Blast from it and, throw off a really strong Heavy Slam against it. Roar just to phase things around. Fire Fang have at least some kind of way to hit the Steelix. It's not doing much at all, but I'd rather not be hard-walled. And then Earthquake for our other stab. Next up, we have our Landorus rocking out with another offensive Dual Dance Landorus this week. Soft Sand, Intimidate, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Rock Polish, Swords Dance. 148 HP, 108 attack, and 252 speed with a jolly nature. So the speed is allowing us to outspeed his base 90s, and the HP 148 investment allows us to, I believe, live 2 Celesteela heavy slams if the Celesteela isn't -1 from Intimidate, and this is assuming defensive Celesteela, of course. And we live 3 heavy slams if he is intimidated, so we can actually potentially use that as setup fodder, because +2 Stone Edge isn't going to tickle, even if we are not max attack, or running much attack all in all honesty. Just the bulk is very, very nice this week. Soft Sandstorm EQ still hit really hard with the 108 investment, giving us some like key knockouts on stuff like Victini, I believe. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think it helps us with that calc. And we can't really run Z on it because we're running Z Starmie. Yeah. Always want to record. But yeah, this is going to be our Landorus this week. Next up, we have our Dredagon making its first appearance of the season so far. Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet, Stealth Rock, Glare, Dragon Tail, Earthquake, 244 HP, 212 Defense, and 52 Speed F with an Impish Nature. This is going to be our Victini check and our likely lead. We're not 2 KO by Band V-Create, and Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet is going to do a ton to that thing. This is going to be our rocker, so that, forces even more chip on his mons. Dragon Tail for phasing, Earthquake for everything that Dragon Tail doesn't hit, like the Empoleon, if we want to do a huge chunk to that. Or just do a huge chunk to Victini, I believe. Just after, even with no investment, I believe after Risk and Rocky Helmet, we can pretty much knock that thing out after the V-Create minus when it lowers his defense. So yeah, that's going to be Dredagon this week. Very important member, like I said, likely our lead. Stealth Rocks are very important in this game, at least early game, and Claire is great just as an annoyance for versus his team. Next up, we have our Scolipede. I got the Focus Sash, Speed Boost, Spikes, Endeavor, Earthquake, and Poison Jab, 252 attack, 20 defense, and 236 speed with a Jolly Nature. So this is outpacing his Alolan Raichu in case he does decide to bring it. Just having something that can outspeed it, just in case, is pretty nice. But again, I don't expect it. Spikes is great. Just Hazard Stack in general is very, very nice versus his team because he has a lot of things that are very bulky but don't have very great recovery and stuff like that. And other mons, even if they may, just having, even just take rocks plus 2 layers of spikes, just like that, it's gonna go a long way in getting us some knockouts on our Landorus and our Starmie and stuff like that. Earthquake and Poison Jab hit pretty much everything not named. Celesteela and the Palisand can eat up those 2 moves pretty well. We have Endeavor for things like the Celesteela if it wants to come in and Air Slash us and bring us down to our Sash. If we can eliminate that thing, it's so much. It makes our time so much easier. This is also great for like an autonomous Celesteela if we still have our Sash intact and he wants to, obviously go out and attack us, and we live with our Sash and we throw off a nice Endeavor, bring him down to 1. It puts him in range of our Lycanroc right here, rocking out with the Choice Band, Tough Claws ability, Crunch, Stone Edge, Drill Run, and a Solrock, 20 HP, 252 attack, and 236 speed with the Jolly Nature. Solrock obviously great priority versus team. And Stone Edge, Drill Run, Crunch hit pretty much everything else. Crunch is for things like the Palisand for the... Does he have a Bronzong on his team, or am I thinking of a different team? Let's see if I'm out of my mind. He does not. I think it's more so for... Yeah, it's for the Palisand. Just because I think you can kind of switch into Drill Runs and Stone Edge pretty well, but Bandit Crunch should to a KO most variants. Bandit Stone Edge hits pretty much everything else not named. The Empoleon, which we have Drill Run for, and which will get chipped over time, just due to the nature of our team and the build we're bringing. So yeah, that's going to the team. Let's jump right into the battle. Alright guys, here we are with the battle. So looking at the team that Steven elected to bring, looks like he went with the Victini, Celesteela, Empoleon, Mega Altaria, Skuntank, and Palisand. Like I said in the team preview, team builder portion of the video, whatever you want to call it, I'm definitely going to lead off with my Dredagon because Victini is a likely lead on his end. Rocks are very important in this game. He has 3 potential defoggers, Empoleon, Mega Altaria, and Skuntank, but I feel like as if I pressure Skuntank like immensely, I see why it was brought, just to kind of check the Starmie, force it into 50-50 situations, but other than that, I think my whole team actually has ground coverage, other than my Starmie, which is pretty funny. you know, which doesn't make me as scared of it. If it is his defogger this week, Mega Altaria, if its defog is not offensive, which is great for me this week. And then the Empoleon, it's, in my mind, a team preview is most likely defogger. But yeah, I did want to get up my rocks initially just to kind of force shift on things, you know, switching in and out, because, yeah, I figured that would be my best course of action. But let's jump right in. This is a pretty long game, spoilers, which is the nature of, you know, these kinds of games when you play against teams with Celesteela and actually the Palosine. The Palosine is really annoying for my team to deal with, in all honesty. I definitely under prep for it a little bit. As he leads off with Victini, we see, so we did get this lead matchup pretty nice, which is great on our end. So right here, turn 1, I'm just going to elect to get up my rocks right away, which is what I'm going to click. He goes straight for the sub right here, which isn't the biggest deal in the world. I do have Earthquake to guarantee and break the sub. I'm not going to risk Dragon Tail, obviously, because, yeah, it'll break the sub, but I could miss, and it's not going to phase him out or anything. As right here, he's going to throw off the Z. As we see by this animation, at first I thought it was Z Steel, but I guess I just don't know my Z dances very well, because it turns out that he is actually going to be Sub-Zero Slammer right here. So Z Glaciate. Glaciate definitely makes sense as a brain, being that I have like a Landers on my team. My team's pretty ice weak, in all honesty. As right here, he is going to throw off the Sub-Zero Slammer, but we do always live this just due to our natural bulk, and we have a tiny bit of Spadef investment. So I'm going to throw off an Earthquake right here and break this thing's sub. And actually, looking at Calixon based on how much that did, he doesn't seem to have at least max special attack. I could be completely wrong, but it didn't look like it, unless he got like a complete min roll. So we actually live this next Glaciate pretty much like 100% of the time. As he does pull the switch out right here into a Celesteela, and assuming, you know, expecting him to switch out, being that he should know that he probably doesn't kill us based on that damage roll, I'm going to go for the Dragon Tail and face this thing out. Hopefully getting in something that'll take some more chip as we get into the team, which is great because that brings this thing down to 50%, which is again amazing for us, as he is just going to go for a Glaciate right here, as I believe I go for another Dragon Tail because it's, he doesn't evolve his Mega Altaria yet, so it is, you know, nothing on his team can really avoid getting phased around at this point, as we're going to throw off the Dragon Tail. Potentially put this thing in range of rocks. I don't know 100% yet, as he gets sent out into his Empoleon right here. And right here, I'm just going to throw off a Glare, I believe. I don't think I should outspeed this unless he's like a minus speed nature, just because of how slow it is. But expecting the Earthquake, he actually, I'm assuming the Earthquake, he actually pulls a switch out in his Altaria, which I get a Glare on, which is amazing, because this thing was DD or Agility, it just became so much less scary. I'm gonna save my Durdagon right here and save it as a sack, potentially on like a Victini if he's mixed. Get some Rough Skin Rocky Helmet on that thing, or just as a sack in general, just to hold on to them. As he sends, as he Mega Evolves into his form right here, becomes the Fairy type and goes for the Defog. So it is likely a more defensive Mega Altaria set, that he has shown us Defog. As I get into my Steelix right here, and I believe I go for the Heavy Slam as he goes out into his Celesteela. I wanted to click Roar, but it just didn't see it as beneficial, being that I didn't have any rocks up. I mean, maybe could have doubled and, you know, pressured this another way, but in all honesty, my team doesn't pressure Celesteela very well at all. It kind of just sits in front of everything. And you're going to see that's going to be a bit of a problem throughout this game. As I am going to pull the switch out, I don't do much of this thing at all. I'm going to go right out into my Durdagon and sack it off, see if he is more of an offensive or defensive set. If he sets up an Autonomize, I am going to try and Dragon Tail it out. But as you see right here, he sets up a Leech Seed, and that is going to take us out just due to the Residual right here. So Durdagon goes down, but it did a great job. It got up its rocks, it chipped the teeny down to 50%. If we can potentially get up spikes or something like that later, that'd be great. It's always in range of Lycan Rocks to sell rock otherwise. And he doesn't sub down on anything else on our team at all. Everything else, you know, threatens it. So right here, I'm going to just go into my Scolipede and elect to get up a layer of spikes, as I expect him to just come out and attack us, as he does go for the Air Slash, revealing that he does have that, bringing us all the way down to our Sash. And right here, I believe this next turn, I just throw off another Endeavor, I want to say. It's either I throw off another Endeavor or if I throw off another Spike, expecting him to protect. I totally forget. This game was a little while ago, so forgive me if I'm a little iffy on these plays, but I believe I go for the Endeavor. Yeah, there we go. So he makes a smart play scouting for that, realizing that if I'm Sash with Spikes, I probably have the Endeavor. a likely way to get around that Celestial. So that does suck that he does realize that and, you know, swaps out. But this does give me an opportunity to kill off the Victini in the back as it goes down to an Earthquake, being that it was at 1 HP. So down goes the Victini as our Scolipede picks up a kill right here. But our Scolipede is basically useless, and he does have that Palossand in the back, which sucks because we don't have any coverage to hit this thing. I could have brought in Throw Chop, Aqua Tail, or something like that. I just didn't. I figured hitting everything else was a bit more important. As right here, he is going to take a little bit of Spike Chip, and I'm going to elect to get up one more layer. Being that the alt is, you know, at 75% and it's paralyzed, I think maybe I can pressure it enough to where I won't have to defog. It won't be allowed to defog again, as he elects to get up his rocks right here, which is fine with me because, again, if he wants to spikes away, he does have to defog away his own rocks, and rocks aren't as detrimental to me anymore, being that this Scolipede was the only thing that was really weak to them on my team. And it goes down right here to an Earth Power from the Palossand as I like to get up one more layer. So down goes Scolipede. Again, did its job. It got rid of him on, and it got up 3 layers of spikes, which is great because just chipping down his team over time is going to be my main way of, you know, getting through with my breakers in the end game. So right here, I'm going to go into my Starmie because it kind of just picks up a kill right here. Nothing really wants to switch in to an Analytic Hydro Pump. Even the Resists are going to do a chunk. As the Skuntank switches in, and after taking 3 layers of spikes, he's going to take this Analytic Hydro Pump, and it shows us that he's probably AV and has a ton of Spadef, but he does barely live. And right here, this is a bit of a 50-50, whether or not he'd Sucker Punch or he would Pursuit. I figured I'd stay in and attack. It was just my best play. And he likely did go for the Pursuit right there, so we did get that play right. And we are able to knock out the Skuntank, which is great because now this has no more checks to it, really. And right here, he goes into his ult. He's at about 51%, and depending on his bulk, I could knock him out, but unfortunately, I do not, and he goes down to 1% right here. And we lose our spikes, which is very unfortunate because we lost them for the whole game. We have no way of getting them back up. And he can still get up his rocks, but at least we use it to, you know, chip some things down, and we are able to take out this Mega Altaria with our Ice Beam from our Empoleon right here. Our Starmie right here. So down goes the Mega Altaria, and we even up this game pretty quick due to some hazards. As right here, he's going to go into Celestial. I'm going to throw off a Thunderbolt just to gauge damage, and we see he's like max Spadef. That Thunderbolt did nothing. And he goes for the Leech Seed right here. And due to the Leech Seed and the likely Protect, he will be out of range of an Electrum Z at this point. If he wasn't lefties and didn't leech us, we had a chance to pretty much knock him out with Z Thunderbolt right there. But being that I expect him to Protect this turn, I am just going to switch out into my Lycanroc, either Protect or Air Slash. Right here, he goes for a double Leech Seed, makes a good play, you know, predicting me to switch out, which was a very nice plan on his part. But that's another Pokemon that we have seated on our team, which is very, very unfortunate, as right here, he's basically back up to full after we did like 35% with the Thunderbolt. Literally the turn before, he's healed all of that up, which is obnoxious, really annoying. But right here, he is going to pull the switch out into his Palossand, I believe, as I just go straight for the Stone Edge. And despite this being a resisted hit and likely a defensive Palossand, we still do a decent chunk, like a good 25-30%. But the Leech Seed is going to kind of just nullify that damage that we just did, which is, again, super, super obnoxious. But, oh well. As we are just going to pull the switch out, I believe he doubles himself. Yeah. Oh, no. I'm wrong. So he pulls the switch out into a Celestial, and expecting him to want to double, I am going to stay in. I'm going to click Stone Edge and do a fat chunk to this thing. It is a 2-hit KO from this range. Even potentially if he does Protect on this next turn, we can put him so low to where it doesn't really matter. And if he wants to try and knock us up with a Heavy Slam, we definitely knock him out with this range. So right here, he is going to go for the Protect, get a little bit of lefties back. I did want to maybe double into my Starmie right here, but unfortunately just didn't pull the trigger. I probably should have because I covered the play back into Palossand as well. As right here, he gets back up into a pretty healthy range. He is potentially out of range of a Stone Edge right here, but if we do hit it, it puts him in range of basically everything else on our team. So right here, I am going to switch out this turn, and I believe I go right into my Steelix, essentially just to kind of sack it off and try and get off a little bit of chip with some Fire Fangs and maybe roar some things around. This is a very, very slow portion of the game, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed it up to 1.75 because this is the bulk of the game right here. It's just him kind of slowly whittling down my Steelix and me doing literally 0 damage with that Fire Fang. This is Spadef Celesteela, and we did, I think, like 20% with that Fire Fang. I know it's only like 65 base power or whatever it is, but the fact that it did like 20% is freaking hilarious in my mind. Like, I think that's absolutely hilarious. As right here, he gets word out into his Palisand. I just wanted to try and force a more favorable matchup, but right here, I do get the Palisand, as then he just goes right back into his Celesteela. He has no reason to not to, unfortunately, as I am going to go for the Earthquake, hopefully get an off a little chip. Again, I'm just trying to sag off my Steelix. It does absolutely nothing in the rest of this game. Every other Mon on his team kind of beats it, so this is a good way of me just kind of scouting damage and stuff like that. As right here, I'm just going to go for the Fire Fang, kind of giving up on the fact that maybe I can get some chip on this thing, because he can just protect the next turn, and he's right back where he was before. So yeah, right here, this is going to be the last turn. No, he just goes straight for the Air Slash, which makes sense, because as long as he hit, you know, I went down, and even if not, Fire Fang was still barely, it was probably doing a net damage of like 2 after these leftovers and leech seed and stuff like that. So yeah, out here, I'm going to send out my Landers, and right here, I'm going to set up a Swords Dance. I don't expect him to have the HP Ice at this point, and we were able to get the Intimidate off, so it's a 3-hit KO from Heavy Slam, and from the damage earlier, we were seeing that he is uninvested. So I figured this is a great point to try and set up my Landers and maybe go for game at this point. Because he does show us that Leech Seed is his best way of hitting us. And expecting him to protect right here, even though I can't 2-hit KO him with Stone Edge, I'm going to go for another Swords Dance. Because depending on his spread, I can knock him out with a +4 Stone Edge. And if I max attack, I would have always. So that just kind of force him into a position where he might want to switch out, because unless he wants to go for the double protect just to get a little bit more chip, that's not a very good play in my opinion. And right here, he's going to go into his Palisand, as I do end up going for the Stone Edge. I wanted to click Earthquake really bad, but unfortunately I didn't. As we do miss a Stone Edge, not a big deal though, because he is definitely in range of a +4 Earthquake, and this thing going down really does kind of open the way up for my Lycanroc a bit right here in the end game. You know, depending on what Mon we kill next, we can lock into super effective, not super effective for the Celesteela, but basically with how hard it's hitting, coverage, or drill run for the Empoleon, and basically knock them out. As right here, he's going to go into his Celesteela, and you know, expecting him not to protect it, because then we can get +6 and just win the game. I am just going to go straight for the Stone Edge and get a huge chunk off. As right here, he's going to go for the Heavy Slam, do a big chunk to us because he's no longer intimidated, and get a little bit of health back just with the Leech Seed and the leftovers right here. So, expecting him to protect here, obviously, because we would knock him out otherwise, and nobody would get the Leech Seed recovery, and we would win. I am going to switch out my Landers and save it for the Empoleon in the back, or this thing. I'm going to go out into my Lycanroc right here, as he does go for the protect, so we do get that play correct. As right here, I believe I go for the Crunch, because it hit both the Empoleon and the Celesteela neutrally. If the Empoleon wants to come in later and just knock me out, because I obviously can't knock it out, I can just go into either my Starmie or my Landers and knock it out, as he is potentially in range of a Band and Crunch right here, just because the Band, you know, brings up a power right here, as we do knock out the Celesteela. Now, I talked to him after the game, that was basically like a max roll, I believe, so we are very fortunate in that respect. I totally forgot to take these things off the way out. But yeah, down goes the thing. As right here, I'm just going to go for another Crunch. Again, I'm not going to, you know, let this thing, just get some free chip on this thing, as he shows agility, and at this point, I'm like, oh, I might lose the game, depending on his coverage that he has for the Starmie. But right here, he goes for agility again, and in-game, I was really confused, because the game, that didn't make any sense. You were definitely faster than me, as I go for another Crunch right here, and I actually knock out the Empoleon. So I talked to him after the game. That was a misclick, 100%. In all actuality, I lost that game 100% of the time, because, like I said, I talked to him afterwards, and he was agility sub Pitaya Berry. So, with the Pitaya Berry, that raises special attack below 33%, I believe. And he would have been, you know, in range of that +2, and then +1 with Modest, and he would have been in Torrent range as well. So at that point, if he just hit all of his Hydro Pumps, he won the game. Our Starmie is definitely in range of a +1 Torrent Modest Hydro Pump. Landers obviously was my only bet at that point. I probably would have sacked my Landers, gone into my Starmie, hope for a miss, and then if not, I would have tried to maybe get in the Cell Rock crit. But again, those odds were definitely not in my favor, provided that he hit all of them. So unfortunately for Steven, fortunately for us, we do win this game. with a much more narrow than it looks like score, we are able to win 3-0. Due to a very unfortunate misclick, but this is great for us because this does mean that our playoff chances are much more alive and much more realistic now. Next week we play my good buddy Curt the Buzzwole, and if we are able to beat him, we basically clinch a spot, which is great. And hopefully we can meet Steven again in the playoffs and have a game that comes to a better conclusion than one player misclicking and the other one benefiting from it. So yeah. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next battle. Later.